Hi, this is Cousin Russ. I'm going to add a special recording of my actual process. I introduced this feature in the last video, but I want to talk about it more because the more I work with this feature, the better I like it for a specific reason. And I want to talk to you about that as I go. And the feature is in 2019 in the People Workspace. And I talked about FamilySearch 2.0, but I'm going to show you the process that I have used, that I started to use as I was making the recording. I had a concept in my mind of what I wanted to do, and I'm doing it. So, and I really like what I am seeing, and I thought I would share that with you. So I'm in the People Workspace, and I created a filter, and the filter is anyone who has the end of line fact. Now, I've been working on this file for the past hour or so, and I started out with almost 300 end of line ancestors. And I've done most of them, and I'm down into the S's. So, but I want to explain the concept that I have, that I am using this new feature, using the filter, and having a certain fact on each person. I'm just going to click on the person workspace for this person. There's a lot of facts here that are private, which doesn't make any difference. But the fact is that the fact that I am focusing on is called end of line. And that is what the filter is based on. In this specific case, I have some information, but most of my end of line people, I probably have nothing. Let me just go to the person above it. And as you can see, I have some property names for her from something in my database, and the one above her, I have a birth and death year. So I don't have very much information, and that'll come in handy in a minute. I have this icon for each profile picture, which is the end of line, no parents. And I have done this, used this end of line fact for a couple of years, and I like it. And I like the visibility for me, but it's also in the ancestry member tree. So if somebody were to find my tree and see that icon as a profile picture, they would know if they know what I have done, I would know that that was my end of line ancestor. They would also see that that person has no ancestor. So I was down here on John, and the first thing I do is hover over the hint, and it says one family search hint found. And I'm going to click on that. And what I am looking for from my side is the name and maybe marriage, but I can see that up here. I can see the name, the wife's name, and a child's name. And I am looking at the data from FamilySearch. This is the profile information from FamilySearch, and this is what is brought in from FamilySearch. So I am comparing the data in my database along with the data from FamilySearch. Now, because I don't have, in many cases, I don't have much information in my side. And what I'm looking for is hints for historical records from FamilySearch. And the way I do that is do the evaluation, and I see John Smith, spouse's name is Ruth Smith. The key for me, because that is a John Smith and Ruth Smith, is Ruth Smith is probably not a Smith. And in fact, in my database, I have a Davids as her maiden name or birth surname. So I can disregard that, but based on what I see so far there is enough information for me because it's not changing any data in my database. Oh, by the way, it says Mrs. Ruth Smith, so that's a hint for me. What got my attention was Ruth in both places. Now, keep in mind, none of the data from FamilySearch is going to be brought into my database. All I am doing is making a commitment that I believe that this FamilySearch profile matches the data in my database. So I have just done that, and I go back to the people workspace. And what has happened is that John Smith no longer has a blue box. And I can tell that, and this feature I will talk about specifically in another video when I talk about this feature. It lets me show you the FamilySearch ID. I don't care what that number is, but I have made I have done a match with that person, and I'm not going to do anything with the matches yet. When I want to go back another generation or two or find more information about that person, I can look at the hints. Now, I'm going to do a couple of these, so this recording's not going to be a short recording because I want to talk through the process that I've developed and share that with you. So I'm going down to the next hint, and I hover over, and it says I have over 4 matches. Now, I'm going to go there, but I won't go there again for more than one, and here's why. Again, I have very little information, and I've got 4 choices here. So I don't want to spend my time on my end of line at this point in time to go through and try to figure out which one is right and analyze and fix, or spend a lot of time working on FamilySearch because there's too many possibilities, and I don't want to spend the time to do that. So it's going to take me too long to analyze that data, and that's not what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to get the easy peasy end of line hints. So I'm going to, anytime I hover over and I see more than one, I'm going to go to the next one because I can get it later, and I'll show you that as I go. So I'm going to the next one, and it says 1, and I see family, I see Philip and Rachel, the spouse. I don't have a spouse up here in my database. And let's see, and if I look up here, I know that there's a Rachel as a child. So I don't see Rachel in the match information, but on the right-hand side, I can scroll down and there is a Rachel. That is enough for me to say that is a match. I can always come back and unmatch it if I find that's not, when I spend time on that person, I can come back and unmatch it. But I'm going to go and see that I've made a match, and I'm going to the next one, and there's 2. I'm going to miss that one. Now, you can see that if I were to go, I have already eliminated some people in this list that I'm working on. But the way I've been doing it is a letter of the alphabet, surname letter of the alphabet at a time. So I'm going to go back to the filter feature. And what I'm going to do is select the top one and then exclude. And I'm going to exclude because I can see it down here. I'm going to exclude all the R's and the S's. So I'm going to exclude, and you can see that I'm excluding. So I'm going to exclude all of the R's and the S's because I want that list to not be so long on the left-hand side. And I better stop talking and watch what I'm doing. So now I'm going to apply the updated filter. So I'm at the top of the list again. Now, what's cool about this feature? What I'm going to do is pause the recording for a couple of minutes, because I've talked through what I do with these icons. I want to come back and I will unpause the recording in a couple of minutes. I may do the last couple matches, because what I can use is the filter feature to filter in everybody who has a FamilySearch ID. And those will be my end of line ancestors who have where I've done a match. And I will see then a difference. I will see those who still do not have historical hints from FamilySearch, but I will see those who do have hints from FamilySearch. And if I want to go back and revisit some of those FamilySearch hints that I didn't do anything with because there was more than one hint from FamilySearch, I can do them because I can use the filter feature to do that. So I'm going to pause and I'll be back in a couple of minutes and continue. I'll be right back. I'm back for a second because I found one that I thought I would share. This unique one, or it's not unique, I've said it several times. You'll see in the lower left-hand corner that I have no information, and the way I handle unknown names is with 5 underscores. So all I know is this gentleman's surname. That's all I know in my database. But the hint came from FamilySearch hint. And when I do the evaluation, I see his first name, but my focus is on his spouse. And this is why I really like this feature. You see that I have, in my database, I have Elizabeth Maxwell. And in this record, it says Elizabeth Maxwell. So I'm pretty sure, and for what my purpose here is just to say that I have a match, that this for now, I can undo it. This is a match. But a couple other hints that I see here that keeps me going in this direction is where he was born and where he died. That's where I expected this person to have lived and died. So I've got some hints that this is probably the right person. I've got another generation back that I can fill in these blanks, but I got his first name. Now I'm not going to do anything except make a match. So that's all I'm doing. I just want I have paused the recording so you can see, so I could talk about making that specific match. I have nothing except the surname, but I do have his wife's name, and that is what I am, and also probably a child. There's Elizabeth as a child's name, and I probably have to cancel that. If I go down, there's Elizabeth. So I've got enough information for me to say that this is a match. Again, this message that popped up is just telling me that it's putting the FamilySearch ID into my database, and that's fine with me. It's not bringing any data, but at some point in time, I hope that it will bring in a historical record hint. I'm going to pause again to get a couple more of these done, and then I will start the recording again. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I've got through all my list. Now, one of the interesting things is that I'm going to go select this one, and I saw it happen, but I'll just show you what happened when I made the match. I go over here and there is the match that I have made, but here are 9 historical records from FamilySearch, that match my um, that match my profile that I have matched in Family Tree Maker. Let me log in, and so I can see the records. So these are the 5 historical records. You notice that I'm getting some data problems from FamilySearch, but here are the record hints that are from FamilySearch for Thomas. Now, I'm not going to do it here because that's not my purpose. What I wanted to show you is when I made the match, I saw this screen change, which told me that there was already a historical record for this person. And when I went back to the people workspace, where did my mouse go? There I go. When I went back to the people workspace, there was a solid blue box. Now, here's where the filter feature comes in and makes this whole process, to me anyhow, makes this whole process worthwhile. I'm going to clear the filter, but now I'm going to recreate a new filter, and I'm going to create it the way I did the first time. Yes, there's a way to edit it, but I wanted to clear the decks, but I want to create a new filter. I'm having a resource problem on my computer because my mouse is not doing exactly what I wanted to do. So I filter in, and I did this before in my earlier video. I'm going to filter in all facts, and I'm going to select end of line. Scrolling down here to end of line. And I'm making any data. So this is any profile that uses the end of line fact. And when I click OK, my computer has too much stuff going on in the background apparently. I click OK, and it's going to tell me that I have 398 people in my database that are end of line. The color coding's already on, which is what we see. And there are still some blue boxes. I have not made the connection or made the match, but there's a number of them that have the blue box which says historical records. Now I'm going to go back to the filter feature because I want to filter out anybody who does not have a FamilySearch ID. So I have FamilySearch selected, any data. I'm going to filter out any profile that does not have a FamilySearch ID. There's 104 people who are my end of line ancestors. And I want to show you, turn on the FamilySearch ID. You see that they all have a FamilySearch ID. I'm going to get rid of that. So now I see those. Now this must have come in since I started at the top of the alphabet. We see all these solid blues. Those solid blues are people who have historical records. And just as I said a little while ago, I have very little data on most of these people. If you look on the right-hand side, I don't have any data, any of the major facts. I have no facts except the name of 5 underscores and the surname. That's all I have for this person. The good news is that I have a historical hint. Historical, in fact, I have 5 historical records on FamilySearch. Now, over time, they will all clear up, or they'll all come in, but all the blanks, none of these people have hints yet, but at some point in time, those that do have FamilySearch historical record hints will be very easy for me to go follow up on. Again, I'm for getting hints. That's my exhaustive research plan for the genealogical proof standard. I always can go after hints, but these are at the end of the line where I already am limited as to the information that I have. So if I get to a certain spot, that I can go ahead and follow that historical record and do what I want to when I have that record. So these blue boxes that I'm seeing filled in have historical records behind them. That was my goal, and I have now gone through all of the. Let me just do this because since I can. This is the second item that I did when I created a filter. This is the new feature, and I'll spend more time on a video on the new feature on the dynamic hinting. It says I filtered out anybody where the FamilySearch ID did not exist. I'm going to click on the pencil here, and I'm going to say does exist. So I want to, I'm sorry, I've got to get rid of that option completely because there's only 104 people in that list. I want to get back up to my 398. Now I'm going to filter out FamilySearch ID. If I learn how to spell, any data that does exist. So these are the people where I did not match, and I didn't do the match as I said as I was going. For an example, this one has 5 hints. That's the match that I did not follow. I chose when I started to do this, if I didn't see one, I was only going to deal with the people that had 1 hints. So when I work all the hints, I can come back here and revisit these blue boxes to see if I want to go make the match. I believe that I have enough hints to work with what I've done so far, but I always can come back and revisit the hints that I have not done the match. And I, again, intentionally did not do a match if there was more than 1 FamilySearch ID. I didn't want to spend the time to go try to figure that out. I'm going to have enough hints to work off with for quite a while. So that was the logic behind what I'm doing. And when I played around with it for a couple hours since my first recording, I figured out a plan, I know the filters and how the filter feature works. I wanted it to work to my advantage, and long time ago, I said I wanted to be able to see my end of line ancestors. Those end of lines do not have parents, both male and female. So my plan works, and now I have another set of hints coming in if I run out of other hints. Hopefully that's not too confusing for everybody, but it's what I've chosen to do, and that's the process that I have just done for all of my end-of-line ancestors looking for hints. Thank you very much, and have a great day.